All right, we're gonna do some microscale stuff. And I'm really gonna turn up the light here because I really want people to understand what I'm talking about when I'm calling microscales. So if you could see these really interesting beaded scales, and this is on the heterozygous. So in this case, I'm looking at a Coral Glow GHI microscale. And you can see the head. So our color's being washed out, but you really get an appreciation for what's going on with, you know, as we're reducing the, basically the scalation of the snake. And just like any, you know, somebody who really appreciates snakes and the morphs and the color mutations, we're dealing with, you know, genetic mutations or mutant genes. So they're just something that are not the typical norm of these animals. So it's kind of interesting. So this animal, the super form, is a scaleless snake, and so that has now been proven. And Jeremy did that. And I am pretty much really motivated now on the microscales that I have. Okay, so here we're looking at, this is like a Coral Glow Inferno pin microscale. And it's really cool. So you see the difference in look. That's because there are no scales. So what's happening with the scalation is the scalation is adding noise because it's literally, it's showing you what's underneath in the skin. And now that we're removing the scale, we're actually seeing the pattern and coloration of what's below. So that's really pretty interesting. Don't worry, we'll get to the super form. But really, really nice. And they have a really interesting feel. So I always say in my videos, you can tell, like just a microscale, I could just be in a dark room and just by touching this is not the same as a normal ball python. And I'm really excited about that too, because it, you know, we're really begging for anything interesting, and we're getting it. Okay, so we'll hop into the super form, and then we'll come back. But take a look at that. So this is the super form of the microscale, and this is a completely snake lacking. Don't mind me, I'm filling my bins. This snake has no scalation, so that means there are no scales to kind of, you know, ultimately it's really protection against, you know, things, all the Sharpie bits out in the wild where this animal would normally have to deal with. So there's no scalation, which would be like overlapping little fingernails, which kind of creates an armor for this animal. Now we're actually looking at the skin of the animal. So if anybody knows of like a nude cat, a hairless cat, they have a really interesting feel to them. Same thing with like a nude rat. There's something really remarkable about them, and now we're getting to see this in a snake. This animal has 0 scales, and it's really hot in here, especially under these bright lights. So let's take a look at the belly. Look at that. I mean, it's soft like velvet. It's pretty crazy. So what this does, this is like, as we're kind of approaching the domesticated snake now, because I don't think this is an animal that would actually do well in the wild, because it doesn't have the protection it would need. And so this is going to be something that's going to be, you know, something we're developing in captivity. But what is really interesting, and I'm looking at it, is literally just appreciation of pattern and color, is how clean everything is. So now with all the incredible, you know, array of different ball python mutations, well, what happens if we can get rid of that noise and we start seeing these really clean patterns without all the noise and the pixelation and all that stuff like that, but we have very, very defined contrast. You can see this would be like a super pastel, pinstripe, possibly Enchi homozygous microscale, and you can see it's got this purple hue. So the scaled version of this, you definitely get to see some of the purplish aspect of it, but you wouldn't see it like this. So this is pretty cool to stare at. Let me see if I can get us to another snake. Okay, so let's look at something that's maybe not nearly as impressive, but remember, it's very critical to have all the ingredients of everything. So in this case, we're just going to look at a Hidden Gene Woma pastel microscale, and you can see just the odd head on that, and hopefully my camera's picking up the pebbling of the scalation. That's what I'm really trying to accomplish in here. And also look at the thermal pits, so that the heat pits on the upper part of the lip are pretty much absent. In some of them there's absolutely nothing at all. So these pits are basically, you know, it's the snake scalation, and this is the heterozygous form, and even that is showing you what, you know, the ultimate super form is, which is the scaleless snake. So I do want to clarify that the microscale is not the scaleless head, so this is its own thing. This is something that came out of the wild. The hets are very different, the microscale between the scaleless heads and the microscales. So I just want to make that clear, but we now know what the super is, and the snake is not behaving. Okay, maybe we should stop, because I'm going to come back. I got more snakes to look at. But really, really cool. Look at the back of the head. You can definitely see that pebbling. Oh, it is hot in here. Okay, end of part 1. Hopefully you guys are seeing what I'm seeing. Say goodbye.